Hello, you know something? It's brilliant to have a bit of a pipeline again of questions. So thank you to those that sent me questions, but I can still do with some more, please, because I've just got one left for the next You Ask, I Answer video. So more. All right, what is it this week then? I hear you say. Well, it's a question from my good virtual friend, never met him in real life, Jamie Robinson, who is the change director at wargaming.net, based in Cyprus, but they operate across more than 19 offices and development studios globally. Quick plug. I trained 15 of Jamie's team about a year ago on my Fundamentals of Change Management course. What a great bunch of people. We had a bit of fun during that, I must say. So, what did Jamie ask? He asked, how do you get a recalcitrant sponsor to engage? They know what the problem is. They know it needs to be fixed, but they don't seem to want to go, if you know what I mean. By the way, I love the word recalcitrant, but just in case you've never come across the word before, okay, it also means things like disobedient, wayward, headstrong, obstinate, unmanageable, uncooperative, and stubborn. Sponsors? What? Don't believe it. Never. I did mention sponsorship in my last video. I think 56 was it? I don't know, I can't remember. As a don't one, which was whatever else you do, don't let your sponsor off the hook in relation to their responsibilities. Why not have a listen to that video? I think it was the one before this. Just to kick things off, let me give you some interesting statistics from an edition of ProSize Best Practices in Change Management Benchmarking Research Report. Teams reported the following about their sponsors. Be interesting, this. 6% said no challenges. 6% didn't support the change. Okay. 15% left or were replaced. 17% were at the wrong level. 18% were unwilling to take on the role. 29% said, here we go, delegated the role. And then 36% underestimated or misunderstood the people side of change. Why are you a sponsor? And then a massive 55% lacked the time and resources. What a damning indictment of those statistics are, aren't they? So all those words I used before about stubborn and stuff like that were about right, weren't they? Okay, enough of that. Back to the question. I suppose the first thing I would do is to get some time in the sponsors, that is, their busy diary to discuss their role. But given their other activities, this can be very difficult. But be persistent. Once you have that time, you will need to explain that their role is the number one factor that makes change successful. No pressure on them then, eh? Tell them that in ProSize, which I mentioned earlier, benchmarking studies from 1998 to date, participants identified active and visible sponsorship as the numero uno contributor to success when it comes to change implementation. On the other side of the coin, in the PMI's 200 and 200 2018 Pulse of the Profession report, it shows that for the 6th year running in a row, Having actively engaged sponsors is the numero uno, top driver of project success. Now, hopefully, when you tell them about that, that will inspire them to become that sponsor your project has always wanted. But you never know, because it may just have the opposite effect. If that's the case, they are the wrong person to be a sponsor, and you'll need to find someone that is more suitable. But that's not for this video, maybe for another video. So, just for argument's sake, let's say that they are inspired. Yeah, I want to be a sponsor. Then that's your cue as a change manager to offer your knowledge and experience to help them out. I believe this is part and parcel of a change manager's role to do this. So you've got them inspired and they're willing to work with you. What's next? You may ask. They then need to know what is expected of them. Regarding this, you will have to be very careful of what you suggest, because the roles and the responsibilities of a sponsor are sometimes infinite, and having got them inspired, you don't want to scare them away, do you? Absolutely not. I suggest you go through the four-stage life cycle of a project and explain to them what kind of activities they would need to undertake. But be careful, don't go overboard. I mentioned getting them scared earlier on. They might just get scared. So for the project life cycle stages, let's start with initiation first. So they need, during the initiation stage, to strike an effective steering committee or program board and provide input and meaningful evaluation of the project initiation document, and ensure that the project is appropriately organised to guarantee the desired outcomes. During the execution phase, assess whether the plans are realistic, and they will provide approval on only those. They should provide approval on only those that are feasible. Okay. They should also allow for sufficient time to properly plan the project and serve as an accessible point person for escalation of issues and challenges. In the planning phase, they should evaluate progress against objectives and provide feedback to guide the project or change manager accordingly. Identify underlying factors and root causes to address issues in a meaningful way. And celebrate the completion of key milestones. During the closing phase, they should ensure a handoff is done in such a way as to maximise the realisation of benefits, to foster a constructive discussion of project successes or failures, like a post-mortem or lessons learned, and finally ensure sign-off on completion in blood. Only joking. By the way, that's not the only activities that they need to do during those phases. I've just picked out some of the more critical ones. Right, you have now laid down the ground rules, and the sponsor is raring to go, hopefully. Yes, of course he is. And if you've done your job right, then so he should be, or she should be. What's next? Well, this is like a bit of a tricky part, because it will be you that will need to handhold and guide the sponsor throughout the entire project, and check in with them on a regular basis, on regular occasions, to make sure they are still doing what they are supposed to, because a project can last for 6 months, 12 months, and sponsors might get bored. Okay, here's a simple back pocket checklist I have, which you can use as a reminder during your meetings, regular ones with your sponsor. I think I've used this in another video, but it does no harm to go through it again. So number one, is your sponsor active and visible? Is your sponsor building the support that is needed for the change to be successful? Is your sponsor communicating directly and effectively with impacted employees? Is your sponsor managing resistance? Is your sponsor setting clear priorities regarding this initiative and business as usual? Is your sponsor prepared to put their hands in their pocket to celebrate success? Are they? Tick, 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 hopefully. Again, that's just a few. There are many other activities that can be added to the list, so that's just some of the more important ones again. So, they are doing everything you want them to, but one thing that is crucial and needs to be pointed out to them is that because they are a little removed from everyone else, they're kind of regarded, if you like, as a ceremonial figurehead. Hey, look at me. For that reason, they actually do make a great impartial leader. They contribute advice, knowledge, resources and support. This can be a huge help in the midst of things when everyone's attention is turned to individual tasks. Sponsors can maintain the big picture of the proceedings. Okay. Finally, you will get the best responses from your sponsor when you are able to assess what their primary concerns are in the current situation. This is not only about their own agenda, it is also about which stakeholders they are most concerned with. In order of proximity, your boss may be thinking about things like me, not me, them, themselves, or wham, not the group, but wham, what about me? The wham factor is often dominant. It is human instinct. If this dominates, you need to focus your comments on addressing your project sponsor wants for them, so what they want for themselves. To do this well, you have to put yourself into your sponsor's shoes and see the situation as they will be seeing it. The next is us, their team, or wow, what about us? Some sponsors are fiercely protective of their units, divisions or teams. So the effects on that team will be their first concern. Now you have to think through all of the local implications and make sure you are able to address them. Then there's the us, the organisation, or wow, what about the organisation? Of course, your sponsor's job must include acting in the best interests of their organisation. Where there is conflict, good sponsors will subordinate their own agenda and be prepared to disappoint their own team, so their project can do the best for their organisation. Then comes them, outsiders to your organisation, or wat. Or wat's a temple here in Thailand, but what about them? Often, the best interests of the organisation will be served by doing the right thing by its customers, clients, regulators and other stakeholders. Even if there is a short-term cost to the organisation of doing so, your sponsor may well be interested in the longer-term reputational implications of their choices. By the way, thank you to Online PM Course for those 4 things that I mentioned just a minute ago. Okay. Now, I could have gone on forever, but I don't want to bore you rigid. So I'm going to say finito and thanks for listening. The next You Ask, I Answer question will be, what are your thoughts on how to persuade someone with a fixed mindset to be more open to growth? Thank you very much. It's another slightly long video, but sponsorship is a damn important issue in change. Ciao.